I am super excited to share today's interview with you, which is with an OT named Isabel Hartounian, who is the owner of Thrive Maternal Care. She is a past graduate of Private Pay MBA. And in this interview, we cover all of the nitty gritty that she's experienced through having her private pay practice for the last 3 years, including now how she's been able to get a waitlist and only work 4 days a week with seeing 3 clients a day. Hope you enjoyed today's interview. Isabel, I am so excited for you to be talking with me today. You are an alumni of Private Pay MBA, and you are having tremendous success, and I couldn't be happier for you. And you really have what I call like this sweet spot practice, which is a practice that really works for you and your life and your family. So could you share with us what that looks like for you? How many days are you working? How many clients do you see? And what population do you serve?
So for me, it was really important to figure that out early on. And with some hits and misses, I've settled on 4 days a week. I kind of, through coaching, was encouraged to keep at least one weekday off to be able to either take care of personal life, appointments, or actually having time to catch up on the admin side, or being able to actually think about being the CEO, so planning things for my business in the future. So I take Thursdays off, and then the 4 days that I do work, I knew that I would have to kind of protect my own kind of physical and mental health, and not taking on too many clients. So I am now with 3 people a day. So it's like a total of 12 people a week that I treat, give or take, of course, cancellations. So we'll say 10 to 12 a week. And so I guess that is my sweet spot. And then I primarily work with, seems like postpartum patients when I kind of did my audit recently, and then pregnant patients who will become my postpartum patients. And then I do see a handful of people with endometriosis and vaginismus. So that is kind of, the most recent update.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And you even have a wait list too, right?
I do.
How long is your wait list?
So there's anywhere between like 19 to 20 people on any given day for the wait list, which is something I like utilize. The EMR that I chose to go with is able to kind of handle all of that and track all of that. And yeah.
That's amazing. And compare that to like maybe in the past when you didn't work for yourself and you didn't have the flexibility that you have now. Like you're in this spot where 3 clients a day is not super onerous, right? But you're still able to make a living seeing 10 to 12 clients a week. That is probably like hugely surprising for most OTs to hear it, to have that type of schedule. So like, what does that do for you as a person, a parent? Like, how does that change the way you show up in life?
So I turned 40 this past year, and in order to be able to focus in a lot of new kind of lifestyle habits, or getting back to old habits of being able to exercise more frequently, being able to care for my dog properly, give her all the attention she needs. And then I do have 2 kiddos who are 12 and 10. So I choose to work during my kids' school hours. So all of that kind of combined allows me to focus on, those healthy lifestyle habits. And then my kids do have extracurriculars, as many do in that like late elementary, middle school age. And I'm able to take them to the different events, and attend different events. So it definitely is worked around our family's values and structure. And but the big one was that I needed to have more time to be able to actually exercise and fit that in. And that can be hard to do when you're also dealing with the extraneous business elements like admin and all of that. So
yeah. I love it. And I think it's, because a lot of OTs find themselves kind of in a rock and a hard place, because if they're working in traditional settings, they're having to see not 10 to 12 clients a week, but 10 to 12 clients a day, and they're facing a lot of burnout. They're not able to have any control over how much they make, right? Because they're at the the mercy of the admins to decide pay increases, whereas you with private practice, you could decide to increase your rates if you wanted to because you have a wait list. And so you could run an experiment. What happens if I charge $25 more per hour, $50 more per hour? Does my wait list stay the same? Like you have a lot more control and flexibility on the areas of your life that's really important. And I know I interviewed you probably a little bit over a year ago for my YouTube channel, and I love that conversation. Everything we talked about. I can't believe it's like been over a year now. Like you're now a seasoned, private pay practice owner. But what's changed in the last year for you? What are you doing now that maybe you weren't doing then?
Yes. So on the topic of like price changes, I did in March, so about 6 months ago, went up about $20 for the sessions. And then kind of just due to the way I like to do my units for super bills, I went up, I think it was like $25 or $30 for the evaluation. And that is because I had back in March also a pretty similar wait list that has held steady. And it's something that I'm even beginning to think about in a year to increase because nothing negative happened when I did that, and was able to maybe worry a little bit less if there was a cancellation or two, because it kind of made up for it a little bit. The biggest change that I've made though was I did hire an admin. So I do have an office, but my administrative assistant is someone I contract with. So she's virtual, though she's local. So I am able to kind of touch base with her maybe a little bit more frequently than if I had hired someone farther away. And I found that I was getting a little bit bogged down in the admin tasks. Fielding where the leads were coming from. So I do get faxes through online faxing program, or I get them as contact form submissions, or I would get, a random voicemail.
Yeah.
And this is all kind of funneled towards her to be the first, face or touch point with each client. She's also on my booking page. So when people book that free 15-minute phone consultations actually with her. And then we work together in establishing a good beginning for every client's journey without me having to almost sell the product. So she has a pretty high conversion rate. She books people out for one evaluation plus 4 treatment sessions. And for the most part, that happens. And that's how I get filled up pretty easily. And then she manages the wait list and follows through with all of that. And that was such a big burden taken off my shoulders, because even though I have grown a lot in confidence, it's still sometimes, it's not my favorite thing to have to kind of sell someone. And I do feel like I can do it maybe when there's less obligations. Like I did a workshop at a friend who's a personal trainer at her house this past weekend, and there was 8 of her trainees. And so that I feel comfortable talking about pelvic floor health there and the importance of it, and that they should go see someone. But it really is nice for someone else to do that for you. And I feel like it almost, they do it even better. So that has been the biggest game changer. The other thing is something I stopped doing was I had been doing social media. That always seems to be the big what if, like, should I be doing it? I hear that all the time for a lot of different providers. And I feel like it really did help me in that first year to kind of establish trustworthiness. And of course, giving some kind of free general health and wellness advice, and it kind of gave people a sense of my personality. But I realized that for leads and even client retention, it was unnecessary in my business. So that is something I took off my expenses. And then the last thing, I moved to a different room. So I'm still in the building that I love and where I had my first office, but I did decide to, at the end of my lease, move into a larger space, which is a little bit cozier. And because we're kind of indoors, but we have a little bit more space to have like partners to come in when I do anything from like labor prep, or I have pelvic pain clients and their partner will come in to learn how to support their partner. So those are some new changes in the
Let's
last year.
Hey, I hope that you are enjoying this video. My course and mentorship program, Private Pay MBA, is the fastest way to start your OT private pay practice. Whether you are starting on the side or going all in full time, Private Pay MBA is the most comprehensive program available. But we all know head knowledge just isn't enough, right? Which is why I provide so much support and accountability within Private Pay MBA. You will join group coaching calls, get access to an incredibly supportive community, and get my personalized feedback on all aspects of your practice. If you are an OT that's in the beginning stage of starting your practice, then Private Pay MBA is for you. And if you've already started your practice, but you aren't getting the results that you want, then Private Pay MBA will give you the structure and tools you finally need to start attracting your ideal clients, gaining traction, and gaining that occupational choice. With hundreds of students, the material in this course has been field tested and quite simply just works. You'll learn how to build authentic referral relationships, market yourself ethically, and build a practice that you are proud of. You can check out more details at freedomofpractice.com/ppmba or click on the link below this video. Okay, now back to our video.
That's huge. That's huge. There's a few things that you talked about, which, well, congratulations, like your just growth and your ability to really step into the role of the CEO is just like really tremendous, Len. And I hope you feel super proud of yourself because you're doing amazing stuff. And there's a few things that you said. So your VA, how was that training process like, and coaching her to field those inquiries and to feel confident, going through the questions that might be asked and getting them to book? How was that training process?
There is some aspect of luck that is involved with starting a business, and that is kind of the hard thing to really coach people through.
Yeah.
But there's also instinct. So my admin was someone that I had met because of the office space that I decided to rent. So deciding to stop being mobile and making being in office was to help both with my physical health and also with my time management. It just served me better.
Yeah.
By making that choice, and that was its own leap, I met this amazing person that worked there. And then, so there's that one aspect that sometimes maybe being open to new opportunities leads you to the next better path. But then I actually started with her for my marketing. So she already happens to have a branding company and marketing company. So she's actually who I really felt like when I did social media, it really hit it off with her. She kind of already got the lay of the land prior to becoming my virtual assistant. So she kind of became pelvic OT literate, and she also happened to do branding and marketing for other pelvic OTs due to kind of me connecting her to other people. So by the time I decided, like, I've had enough of the admin part, which would, lead to taking work home and working sometimes in the evening, she was open to it. So, and then at the same time, the training process was very easy due to her being both the right person, being really a self-initiator and very good communicator. So I think trying to hire someone like that is very important. But I used the scripts from coaching with you, also coaching from other business coaching programs I'd been a part of. So I already had a script, and then we just sat down and maybe over 2 hours just kind of went over how she would like to do it differently. We rewrote everything that needed to be available, and she does everything through my electronic medical records. So she has, easy access for scheduling, easy access to find the templates that for her, help her do her job. And so it was just a matter of walking her through kind of my system. And at the same time, she is great at auditing situations as they're happening, and is open to giving me ideas, and I'm open to receiving them. And so I think it's finding, a good person to partner with. And so I can't take all the credit, but I do think it's very important to really interview
Yeah.
and find someone that actually will really, really take that burden off.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you said like there's an element of luck. And I think like we can put ourselves in situations that increase the odds of luck. Like we can make our own luck. And a lot of that has to do with like just getting out and meeting people. Like the more people you can meet, the more likely it is that you're going to find that person, right? The more you go out and you try to find space, it leads you to then being able to know that you can upgrade your space in that same location. Like all of these things sort of interweave because it requires a level of action and persistence on the part of the business owner, and not being passive, but being like really active and open to opportunities of going like, you know what, that person seems to have really great communication skills. I wonder if they'd be really good on the phone. Like let's trial that out. And just having that sort of let's see where this goes, attitude is really, really important. You mentioned another thing about your price increase, which I just want to do a little bit of simple math, not to embarrass you, but so if you are seeing 12 clients a week and you increase by 20, right? That's a $240 increase each week.
Mm-hmm.
So over 4 weeks in a month, that is about $1,000, right? And so the question I would ask most OTs is like, when was the last time you got a pay raise of $1,000 a month?
Yeah.
Just to put it in concrete terms, like what we're talking about. So I don't want to embarrass you, but just we don't always connect the dots. And so how are clients finding you now?
So the SEO on my website is pretty amazing. And again, it's due to the person that I hired, who is my admin, who does marketing. And I am like the second non-sponsored website when you search pelvic for therapy San Jose, which is our largest town in this area, which is where I live. My office is in Campbell, but most people would search San Jose. And so I'm up there. And then, so that is the majority of people are Google searches. And then that's how they book the phone consultation or they fill out the contact form on my website. And then the second place is still the OB that I had spoken about in the previous interview with you, who I had connected with over a year and a half ago. And I had done workshops for her pregnant patients throughout all of last year. And I kind of stopped doing them this year due to personal kid schedules and everything. But I continue to still have like a relationship with her, and she still sends me clients. And then the third place is word of mouth, which definitely in this, so I'm like now over 2 years into the business. And now I feel like word of mouth is ramping up a little bit more. So that was something that I had betted on early on. And it did take a while. And it's kind of funny in like a fortuitous way. One client ended up sending me 4 clients from her friend group. And now there's this like fun, joke that everyone in that friend group needs to see Isabel. And so there's power in word of mouth 100%. And that's the type of client referral that makes me feel the most happy and grateful for doing the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not only did the client find that this helped them or our work together resonated, but that they actually like trust to share, me as a source to their friends. And so, yeah.
Do you do anything to encourage the word of mouth referrals? Like, do you have anything in place that would let them know that you're open to word of mouth referrals, or any nurturing you do after they discharge that would increase the word of mouth? Or is it kind of just happening really, really organically from your clients?
I think it is happening organically, and that is due to not making a decision that I might reopen. So, which is what you're saying of potentially having a client referral, maybe a benefit kind of program. I have had one or two clients ask me if I would discount their sessions, and I think there was only one person that I just felt like, yes, I would. And it didn't work out anyway. There was no client that came in from them in particular. So I guess I've not yet seen a need to do that, but I could be open to it in the future if I was at a dead end of sorts. Yeah.
And from the SEO perspective, is there anything sort of specific that you've done in that regard? Like, are you doing blog posts, or is it really just more like keywords on your homepage and specialty? Or are you writing blog posts every single week and publishing them? Or is it more just like, actually, my website is pretty simple with my services and locations and tags? Which route did you go?
The latter. So
Okay.
I don't write blog posts. It was something I had done at the beginning, but right now it's mainly what's existing on the homepage. And again, I did outsource it, so I can't say what everything is, but I know that when we've talked about, like 2 months ago, we've kind of rebranded, changed the colors, added, I got a photographer. I wanted finally to gift to myself this opportunity than having, the pictures that my husband had taken or my
Yeah.
friend's husband took of us doing therapy. So I did that. And so in talking about kind of changing the look of the homepage, she warned against us taking too many words off that already are existing, because that is one of the biggest influences. And so we have the county that I serve right at the top.
Yeah.
In my, when you open the tab and there's the title, it has like 4 different cities listed in it, after my business name. And then the diagnoses that I treat is all on that homepage. I have a Google map that is, inserted into the website. And of course, I do have my Google business profile that has the newer pictures, and that's doing really well because you get Google notifications once per month, kind of like a summary as to new leads. And that always seems to still be improving.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like, and just taking like the 30,000-foot step back, which is like what I hear is like, you're continuing to evolve. You know what I mean? Like, you started mobile, maybe with pictures your husband took, with a different website, with a different approach, doing everything yourself. And then you've just incrementally changed things. Like, you've updated your website, you've hired an admin, you went and got a physical location, then you went and upgraded that physical location, you increased prices. Like, word of mouth took 2 years to really start to develop and to gain sort of the snowball traction and everything. But it's like, you are just continuing to improve and continuing to change things, which I think is so great for OTs to hear, because they want it to be perfect from the very beginning. Like, they want to be where you are from day one, but it's like, it's a process, it's an evolution, and there's no shortcuts to it, and staying open and flexible, I think is really important. Where do you see yourself 1 year from now?
So I wish I was a little bit more of a planner. I do feel like, kind of to your point, have been open in small increments.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what I'm open to 12 months from now. Something that you and I had spoke about at the summit was, have I thought about hiring?
Yeah.
And it is as much as something I don't want to do as much as I potentially might want to do. So I'm wondering, I give myself a lot of space to think and just wait. And that is what I'm potentially open to thinking about in a year. The biggest hurdle is I would have to potentially change my entire business entity, as I'm in the most simplest one in California. I'm a sole proprietor. And in order to even think about hiring, I'd have to decide if it was worth it to spend the however many thousands of dollars to get a lawyer and move myself up into a professional corporation. Because unfortunately, we don't have LLCs in California for health based professions. It's not allowed. So I don't know yet. I do get students that reach out, but I also have even recently have practicing OTs reaching out for potential jobs. And there's an aspect that I love to teach. I would love to mentor someone. I'd also like to have even more flexibility in my schedule. Something that I kind of didn't touch on is my kids are in regular September to kind of May school year. It's not year-round school, but the public schools have a lot of breaks. So there's, maybe like 8 or 9 months out of the year, I only work 3 weeks every month. And so it would be nice to have the clinic open that extra week. And as well as when there have been times that my wait list has kind of gone out 2 months ahead, it feels sometimes not that great, but not enough for me to change my value of that I really only want to see 12 people a week. And I know that that's due to my own personal limitations and history with burnout. So I have to be really protective because none of this will exist if I burn out.
Yeah.
But those are kind of some reasons as to why I'm thinking it might be nice to bring someone on board. I have to kind of sit with it for a little bit, or maybe hear it enough micro times to finally, this is how a lot of my decisions end up kind of coaxing me into something where, where I begin to really, really ponder it.
Yeah. And it might be for you just finding that right person, and staying open the way that you were for the social media stuff and the admin stuff, which is like, if you really find the right person and the right person falls in your lap and you're just like, okay, this is kismet, like, have to find a way to work with this person. And actually they already have a few years of experience and maybe they don't need a lot of training. Like, you don't know what the universe has in store, but staying open to that, like, can lead to a lot of happy coincidences, and I know you've been very gracious with your time. So, I have one last question for you. And I think I asked you this in the last interview, but I'm curious now because you're further along the path. So you have even more of a rear view to look back and reflect on, which is, what advice do you have for OTs who are thinking about taking the plunge with a private pay practice?
I know that it can be a tough pill to swallow when you're trying to leave your job and try to make up the income with a new job, or starting the endeavor. And it's a tough pill to swallow to have to put more money in with business coaching. But that is, the number one thing that I would recommend. And it's not just because this is an interview for your Private Pay MBA. And I worked with 4 business coaches, partially because each program had a finite amount of time. And then I decided I still wanted business coaching. And it's for accountability. It's for that structured guidance. And I think a lot of us as OTs, we are very empathetic people. Maybe some of us can be ill sensitive. It can be really scary to do this. And of course, we talked about like imposter syndrome in the past, like, who am I to have a business? Who am I to suddenly also jump in and be a pelvic floor therapist and start a business? And so a lot of insecurities get in the way, and then a lot of excuses get in the way. And I'm too afraid to reach out to doctors. I'm too afraid to, go to a fitness center to market my workshop. So I think you need someone, and potentially, a group too, to be able to push you out of that comfort zone and model examples of they themselves doing it scared, just like we talked about in the previous interview. And I have still regularly interacted with OTs who are either thinking about taking the plunge, leaving their jobs and starting the business, or they already have done it. And they still repeat certain themes of feeling stuck, not sure if this was a good idea, not sure if they can let go more hours of the maybe holding still half part-time job at their original place. And I think what they're missing is the path forward, the actual structured guidance, like you do with modules, or like, let's just try maybe the top piece of advice first, see how that worked out. That didn't work out. Then we do the next, potential effective thing. And so I just keep telling everyone that they need to, think about investing in business coaching, because I can honestly say this would have taken a lot longer. And I really wanted to be where I am right now 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I met with you almost 2 years ago crying that I wanted business coaching, and was very, very confused, and had the dip in the whole process. And now it's kind of strange to be on the other side. And time went by so quickly. So 2 years maybe sounds like a long time, but, a lot of stuff has happened in those 2 years. And if I didn't have a plan, I might not be doing this,
Yeah. I mean, I think you're totally right, because time is our most precious commodity, and it's like we can go the slow route and try to figure out everything on our own and redo all the same mistakes that everybody else throughout the history of business has made, or just really get like a concrete plan and have the willingness to work and do it scared, as we've talked about in the past, and put yourself out there. But if we don't do those things, then, as you said, it's just going to take so much longer and people will get much more frustrated. And so I think like having whatever people decide, their accountability partner may be their spouse. It could be a business coach, it could be a friend who's done it as well as helping them guide it. It doesn't matter really what format it takes, but it's like you really have to have that, because we all have these dreams, but then we also have routines, and the routines get in the way of the dreams. And so finding that break to really work on the things that's important is really super important. And I just want to say again, I'm super impressed with everything that you have accomplished. You are absolutely killing it. And I'm so happy for your success with having this practice that like really fits into your life and lights you up and makes you excited to go and transform your clients' lives. And I just really appreciate your time. And thank you so much, Isabel.
Thank you so much, Doug. It was wonderful.